You have to learn how to change your role, like, quick, because, you know, if you come in here and you act like you're a zombie, and they come in, they see you're a zombie, well, some people are not scared of zombies.
It's like, you know, you have your everyday stress and everything, and you can get into your role and you just let everything out, and it's a stress relief. You just let go.
A lot of us wear very heavy costumes, a lot of layers, and it gets, even with the air conditioning, it gets really hot. And you don't realize it. You're having so much fun, you don't realize that you're suffering from heat exhaustion.
Norm's a pretty good leader. He's not too bad. He gets sidetracked a little bit now and then. I think he's extremely creative, and sometimes he gets quite anal about it.
I never set out to make it financially successful. I mean, you have to run it like a business, and you have to pay your bills so that you can play again the next year. But the intent was always to share my passion with, you know, with people in Austin and Central Texas. And so it was, you know, if I could cover my costs, then I was set for the next year.
The thing that makes a successful haunted house is the same thing that makes any theater project a success. And that is the ability to recognize and to nurture other people's talents.
It's like we're one big family. Everybody gets along, does stuff with everybody.
When you watch fireworks, the final fireworks show, that's what I want to be always.
If I could, I would be here every day. And I'm going to try to be here every day this year.
$5 props. Free if you know the right farm to steal them from. And you go in the middle of the night.
I can't get a whole one by myself because I'm a tiny little woman.
This is a secret recipe. This chain here, find an old rusted chain, set it in some fermented horse hay, a little bit of horse manure in it for about a month. There you go. So, we were talking about having them come in like a bathroom type scene, which is fun. We do that here. But now, we also want them to come. The walls are about 80% up, and that's the biggest thing. After that, we go to sound, lighting, props get brought in, paint effects within. The facade is getting finished, and so you know, we want to be done by September 15th with everything, and we're on schedule to open September 29th. 2 weeks, so 2 weeks early we should be done with everything. That way we can iron out anything dealing with the pneumatics and stuff.
I got a present. We don't kill anything here.
One thing I like about the Mansion of Terror is the fact that this is the type of haunted house I had always wanted to design. The problem I had with the ones I had worked in before was you would be walking through a hallway, you'd come up to a scene, there's a railing blocking you from the scene. So, like Norm described it, it's like watching a play. To me, that wasn't really always that effective in scaring people. The way I'd always wanted to design a haunted house is where you actually make people feel like they're a part of the room, because psychologically it's going to scare the crud out of them because they feel trapped.
I was so freaked out that I almost threw up. Oh my God. I just was walking through the whole thing with my eyes closed, and like I was clinging to her, and like I was so scared. I didn't even open my eyes until halfway through.
I think it pushes the envelope. It tries to be very claustrophobic, very dark. It makes a concerted effort to press the buttons of the psyche. I think a lot of people, they just go for the stereotypical kind of scares, and we really try to push the envelope, and we don't worry about stepping on people's sensibilities. We really want to kind of push those psychic buttons that people have.
We're open 5 or 6 hours, but then I show up, 2 hours early, do makeup, and make sure everything's ready, and then usually leave about 45 minutes after we close. So, 8, 9 hours on top of a normal job. Yeah. It's crazy. The last week we do every night. We were open every night, and makeup never washes off. Its voice starts to go out. And, it's kind of tiring, but I like it. It's worth it.
My first year, I was basically an amateur, and I was still stumbling. I'm still learning as it goes. My second year, he made me manager of Screamatoria. So after that, I became a manager, so that meant my role was making sure everything was okay, checking up on the actors, making sure the actors are in their spot, making sure that actors are doing what they're supposed to do. If they weren't working in one room, make sure I moved them up to another room, see if they're working better.
My favorite part was when they had the chainsaw on the door, because it was like real, not like on you.
Probably the most favorite part was there was this guy and he was standing over me and I turned back and he was right above me, so that freaked me out.
My favorite part was probably in pitch black when the clowns came after us, because I'm scared of clowns. That's the only part that really scared me. Say cheese!
Worst patron. The obvious answer to that is the college drunk. He's the one that, shot back a fifth before coming here just to prove that he was macho enough to get through the whole thing. Holds his girlfriend out in front, makes sure to throw her to all the monsters just to hear her scream,
I actually had a footprint bruised into my leg last year. She kept telling me, don't get close to me, don't get close to me, and I got too close, and so she kicked me and I had her footprint bruised into my leg. But it was just part of the job.
Last year when I would try to scare patrons, like if they were already real scared or mad about something, I got hit a couple times. Like last night I got slapped because I popped out on this girl right when she exited and she slapped me.
If you're in there doing your routine and they bow up on you and they get tough, then you just turn it around to, hey, I'll trade you my girlfriend for yours, that kind of thing. And that usually starts them with a little bit of humor, and then they back off and they relax a little bit.
You see these feet? This is how I clean them. Everybody was in like the most rottenest mood last night. I wasn't. I was like, yeah. Everybody's like, oh, dude, Robert, put that away.
I like to see all the different designs people get, so maybe if I want to do something like that the next night, I can get it. And it's just a good area to be around, but sometimes there can be a lot of tension in there too, like people arguing, people getting in the way, people that aren't getting made up, just sitting there talking, not doing anything.
He said a word, he was just sitting there.
Y'all just weren't listening.
Me to get out.
I was sitting there watching him tell y'all, and y'all just told him to get out.
You don't need to be painted.
What was it? Just like this?
You're gonna put your coveralls on, I'm gonna bloody you up, but you're not getting painted. Blood takes 2 minutes.
This is already blood.
On your face, you're gonna have some gashes. It takes 2 minutes.
It's not done.
Drew, don't even, man. Nobody's telling me what to do.
Drew! That's it. Drew, get the out! I'm not gonna put up with that shit.
When I'm in school, I just can't wait to get out and come here and just have fun and scare people. I just bottle all of my energy up all day, looking forward to coming here. It's just, I have so much energy that night.
Everybody over here, we work together. We have our problems, of course. We all have our problems, like every other family. But we're all close. We can all talk about things with each other. We're just a big family that has to work with each other, basically.
And I've heard horror stories about other haunts who are just slave drivers. They're just horrible to their actors, and that's no fun. So we want our actors to come back year after year and have a good time. We're a family. Like, even during the off season, we still get together. We have movie night. We have, we go to the bar or club. We have a good old time.
What are you doing? You don't have no blood on you.
Norm,
I don't get blood, I just get all white
Norm,
and
when
bruised
you talk to
up.
her, don't look down.
Okay.
When you talk to her, don't look down.
And I show off my boobs to counteract it.
Hey, whatever works.
Right?
Hey, speaking of boobs, it's not okay to go down to Walgreens and get a Powerade, is it?
What does that have to do with boobs?
It's just a non-sequitur joke I do.
Okay, great. No, go with the water, man.
All right.
Water's good for you. It's
We all work together. We're like a family. I mean, we fuss and we fight together, but we work together. We all love each other.
We've got simple rules up here that everyone respects everyone else, and no one is above that. So it should be a comfortable place that people want to come to who have a passion and dedication for haunted houses. And they can do that with other people. And it's been an amazing family experience with these guys.
The people are nice. Teamwork is very important here. No one can do something on their own, but like scaring someone, you can get that extra scare out of someone. If you scare with someone, then they're like, they're thinking that was it, and then they get scared again.
You're close to the get-in, and it seemed like the actors are like right on you.
The flashlight went out and you had no idea what was going to happen. It was kind of scary.
I scared them so bad they went down on the floor. And then they would start hollering, I want out, I want out. And that's what we had told them, if you want out, just say I want out. We had 511 people didn't make it through last year.
Norm told me the first year I was here about the whole group and which part of the group to scare. I thought you should scare the front of the group, because if you scare the person in the front, you scare them all. No, not really. The person in the front is the one who's willing to, go chest to chest with someone, probably the big guy in the group or someone who thinks he's all tough. The person in the back is willing to die because they're willing to get picked off, So the person in the middle is usually the one who's most scared.
I saw 4 girls try to make it through a 3-foot wide doorway opening at the end. One poor girl, I swear she must have dislocated her shoulder, just trying to make it through the doorway out of the room. A lot of it is misdirection. A lot of it is building up their attention into a spot and then coming at them from different things. That's why the scares from coming up from below, like at people's feet, or coming out from atop of people, completely catches them unaware.
If you can make them believe that you are a syringe-wielding psycho doctor that wants to kill them, that to me takes equal and sometimes more skill than saying, to be or not to be.
A lot of people who audition here have some kind of acting experience, film or theater. But this job takes a lot of improv because every person is different.
Change my tactics a lot, depending on how the crowd is, to watch, to see, if it's more of an ambush attack or straight out, gory scene.
Every year we always change up the haunted house. We make sure it's never the same. It's always different.
We've got set design down pat. We learned a lot of things where, as an example, year 1, it was easier to put up 4-foot hallways, 4-foot wide hallways, because we had 4x8 wall panels. Well, we found that if we drop that down to 3-foot wide hallways in a lot of our areas, it was easier for our actors to get closer to the patrons.
Some things I would regret is talking smack to people, and then they would get angry and try to cuss you out. So mainly just provoking people, saying mean things to them.
You can't do the same thing over and over again, because if you have somebody come in again, they're looking for a different kind of scare. So I didn't do that. I just did one kind of trick basically, where I had a little chair and I kicked the door. I just kicked it.
The first year, the girl in the room next to me kept breaking character, and then she insulted one of my friends who was her boss, and I actually went to the other room during hours and started picking a fight with her.
If they feel out of it and they have the ability to go tell someone, go tell them. I mean, don't just like try to, you know, be tough and fight it out if you really, you know, you don't have any more.
Last year, Norm had these strings hanging from this 2x4, kind of like a mid-60s bead curtain kind of looking thing. It sucked. People would go through and the little cords would get all tangled. Eventually, people were starting to strangle themselves.
I have to be more careful with my body. Like the door incident, when I shut my hand in the door, that was an accident, but like me thrashing around in the actual chair, that was painful, and I had the marks. And so I definitely need to work on that.
Respect the king. Want a cookie? Here you go.
It's nice about watching a movie.
And eating chips.
And eating chips and having fun and not working on the build out.
Norm, he's good. He's a good guy. Like he always fixes all the problems if we have problems here. He makes sure everything's okay in the hunt. Just looking out for everyone pretty much.
Norm's a great person as far as getting people together. He's a good role model. He's a good person. He's very trustworthy. That's it's very difficult to find in this world this day anyway.
Norm puts his heart into this, and I love that. This is his heart and his soul. And during the off season, he talks about the haunted house all the time. Middle of June, hey, we're gonna have a meeting about the haunted house. Let's go. And that's what I love, is that the passion.
I think if this was a day in and day out job for somebody, I don't think the patron would get near as much out of it. I mean, Norm is very passionate and driven about it.
Norm has the ability to say, hey, why don't we try this in here? Why don't we try that in here? Why don't we see if this character works in here? Why don't we move you to this hall and see if that character works better there? And he's able to do that in the middle of running the big show, and you don't see that very often. He just does an awesome job with being able to adjust night by night for what's needed.
I'll give him all the credit. Without him, we would not be nothing without him. Whenever you're really good at something, you're going to make money doing it. That's pretty obvious, but that should never be the driving force. And I think a lot of haunted houses out there have the mindset that what's the minimum I can get away with in creating a haunted house to get people in the front door. And I never wanted to be that way. I wanted to either put on a really good show or not do it at all. I didn't want to do anything in the middle. The next step for us is to get to a permanent location. Because right now we're seasonal, so we spend thousands of hours at the beginning of the season setting up and then tearing down at the end of the season and storing this away till next year. Our goal is to get a permanent location. Even if it stays seasonal, a permanent location we don't have to set up and tear down every year, but really that we can add to. There's a lot more you can do with a permanent location. You can do spray in concrete for cave walls. I mean, I think there's a lot more you can do to take it to the next level, and I think that's where we're at. If we want to take set design to the next level, we need to get into a permanent location.
I went to Barnes & Noble last year, and there was these two guys there, and they're like, that's her. No, that's her. And I just kind of glared at them, and they go, that's her.
I think it's a kind of a privilege that I get to work here. They don't have to let me work here, and so I try to just help out as much as I can.
It's an escape for me. I can act out and do certain things, but I think it's also an escape for patrons when they come through.
Especially the last week with the craziness, it was very stressful for me. But I love it, and I'll keep doing it.
The button's coming down, so the camera grab for us. You can't get it on. I need to make my blood run. It's undoing itself. What is it? He's got nightmares. Oh, we're back, man! 2 minutes later. You want me to grab down there? How long are you better 20 minutes. You finally got it. Yes!
Busiest night of the year. How do you feel?
Tired.
How's your body feeling?
Tired.
How's your mind?
Gone.
Was it worth it?
Yes.